Coming up on Doctype, we're bringing you the things that we're looking forward to the most in 2010. And I'll give you a hint, it has something to do with the internet. So clean up that confetti and get your drunk friend off the couch because it's time for Doctype.
This episode of Doctype is brought to you by Viewpoint and Less Everything.
I'm Nick Pettit.
And I'm Jim Hoskins.
And you're watching Doctype. Whether you're a designer that wants to learn a little bit of coding or a developer that thinks everything they make looks like crap, Doctype is here to show you the latest tips, tricks, and tools to help you take your next project to the next level.
All right, let's just get this out of the way.
All right.
Happy New Year!
All right.
I hope everybody had a safe and fun New Year.
Hopefully. I hope you're recovering well.
I hope you remember. You know what? It doesn't matter if you remember New Year's.
Exactly.
The best ones are the ones you don't remember. Right?
Exactly. So it's 2010. I'm kind of wondering where my flying car is and, you know, what happened.
You didn't get a
there.
flying car?
No. You did? Oh,
Okay.
man.
It's a company car.
Oh, okay.
I get it Monday through Friday and then every weekend.
New in 2010. All right. Anyway, this episode we're going to be looking at some of the things that we're looking forward to in 2010 in web technology, since that's usually what we talk about on this show.
The web. The internets.
The internets. All right, let's get into it. So for almost 2 years now, WebKit has supported CSS gradients, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about on Doctype for some time now, but I really can't yet because I don't feel like it's ready for prime time. Now, that's all about to change because in the next version of Firefox, which is right around the corner, they're going to be supporting CSS gradients. And then maybe after that, we'll have an episode about CSS gradients. Now, CSS gradients are pretty cool because you can just set, you know, a couple control points, a few colors, and whether you want the gradient to be a linear gradient or a radial gradient, and you're pretty much done. And gradients are cool because you can use them anywhere that you can use images. So for example, if you wanted like a background image that, you know, you would use a CSS gradient for where, you know, whereas you would normally use an image, you can just use CSS gradients now.
So that cuts down on the bits going through the pipe?
Exactly. I mean, you can save on images and you can experiment a little bit more fluidly because you can just use gradients right in the browser.
Yeah, you don't have to do that whole export, save, reload.
Exactly, yeah.
Cuts a couple steps out of that. It's nice.
Yeah, definitely. The font face CSS property has been available in browsers for some time, but hardly anyone used it because of ancient proprietary font formats and complex licensing issues. But all those things are starting to clear up, and fonts are starting to make a big comeback. So it's probably time to start learning about the font face property. Now, there's good news and bad news here. The good news is there's going to be more aesthetic variety. You can use all these different fonts in the web, and it's going to be really cool. The bad news is there's going to be more aesthetic variety and more choices that you can make.
Fonts are hard.
Yeah, fonts are really hard, and fonts are especially hard when you have a whole bunch of them to pick from and you can start mixing and matching them. I think there's going to be this period where, you know, you're going to see websites with just a million different fonts on them, and it's going to look really cluttered and awful. I can assure you that there are worse things in the world than Comic Sans.
It's called papyrus.
Yes, it is. Web 2.0 is a buzzword that's had a lot of different meanings, but the meaning that's confused me the most is the Web 2.0 look. This is an aesthetic that's become associated with reflections and shiny things. And
shiny.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all over the place. I think in 2010, designers are going to start to really get away from this and start thinking about the basic elements and principles of art. They're going to start thinking about line, shape, texture, because there's so many things that are possible in a browser. And I mean, there's so many things that are possible visually that right now are completely unexplored. Now, if you want to show off your visuals to clients, you're going to definitely want to check out Viewpoint. Viewpoint is the simplest and most elegant way for creative professionals to present their work to clients. No more emailing images or manually building presentations. Password-protected project galleries keep all your work organized in one place. Organize your files by project, control and gather client feedback, automatically version control your designs, and present images, videos, or flash animations. So whether you're developing a simple website design, an online banner campaign, or a complex web application, Viewpoint easily manages the design review process and keeps everyone on track with getting designs approved. Viewpoint is is a hosted web application created by designers from real-world experience. Get your work approved quickly. Get Viewpoint.
Not surprisingly, the things that I'm looking most forward to in 2010 are new browser technologies that should be hitting the market soon. My first top pick is WebGL. The technology that I'm most excited about is called WebGL, and basically it allows you to do 3D rendering right inside the browser without any plugins. Basically it works by extending the canvas element with an OpenGL context, and it actually exposes the whole OpenGL ES 2.0 API for you, and that's exactly what they use in games and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. Now I have one question. Can it run Crysis?
No. Does your browser run Crysis? No, obviously it's not going to just like pick up games, but it does give you the opportunity to do a lot of things that Crysis could do. It does bump mapping, and you've got to use your own algorithms, but basically you're not going to get the same kind of performance because the main game loop and stuff has to be written in JavaScript, which is going to be a lot slower than your C runtimes.
Right.
But a lot of the shader stuff does actually run on the GPU, so it's actually a lot faster than trying to do stuff natively in JavaScript and sort of roll your own 3D space.
Cool.
The second technology I'm really excited about is called WebSockets. Now, the traditional way that web browsers work is that they send out a request to the server, and the server has that opportunity to send data back. Once that closes, the server can't really talk to the browser anymore. It has no way to find it. So the way that normally we try to get this sort of communication going is the browser will pull, consistently asking, has anything changed? Has anything changed?
And that's kind of redundant.
Yeah, you get a lot of no's, and there's a lot of overhead in sort of the handshake of it. So it's not really the great way to go. But WebSockets is a new technology. It's already available in Google Chrome that allows the browser to sort of make a phone call to the server and leave that line open. So they can actually talk to each other in both ways. So it can just say, hey, server, let me know when something changes and I'll take care of it, instead of me asking you over and over and over again.
So this would be good if you wanted to make like a continuous connection with a chat room, or if you wanted to update a Twitter feed or stock quotes.
So it's going to be a lot less hassle on your browser because it's not making all those requests, and the server is going to be a lot faster. So it's sort of a win-win. Hopefully it'll take off in all the browsers in 2010.
So in other words, the chat room is back.
So now we can have chat rooms.
All right.
So do you remember the last time they updated JavaScript?
No, probably before I was born, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really remember either. But fortunately, we're getting a new update for JavaScript. It's called ECMAScript 5, and ECMAScript is the official name for JavaScript. The JavaScript we know and love that's like, 10, 12, 15 years? I have no idea. It's been around forever. That's ECMAScript 3, and we're going to 5. Now we're skipping 4. They spent a lot of time working on 4. It was a design by committee type thing. Turns out it wasn't so great, so some other people took over and said we want some more incremental changes instead of radical new changes like 4 was bringing. And they worked on that, and that became 5, and that got approved in December. Now 5 brings us a lot of new features. The biggest one is the strict mode. So a lot of bugs in JavaScript are like when you mistype something, like a variable name, it automatically becomes like a global variable in scope. And there's no warning about it, so you have to like track it down, like what's going on.
Right.
So strict mode brings a lot of those errors and actually throws exceptions for them, so your code will actually break. And so it should be a lot easier to sort of debug your code. There's a lot of other things like attributes can now be just readable, just writable, and you actually get reader or getter and setter functions that you can actually put on there, so you can manipulate data going in and out of objects.
Cool.
Which is something we've seen in stuff like ActionScript, which is also ECMAScript based. So all the browsers sort of had their hand in this, so hopefully we should be seeing adoption in the actual browsers in the next year. I think they've been working on some runtimes for quite some time before it actually got approved, so hopefully we'll see it soon. It's a new standard, and it's pretty exciting. It's the first real JavaScript update we've seen in the modern web.
Do you want more out of life? Then what you really need is less. Less everything. Less everything are two cool guys that do great stuff like less projects. Easily manage multiple projects, prioritize tasks, and assign tasks to people. Less accounting. The accounting app for small businesses to save you pain and suffering. Less time spent. Track your time and avoid billing mistakes. And of course, less conf. Jim and I went to less conf in 2009, and 2010 should be even better. To learn more, check them out at lesseverything.com. Well, we hope you enjoyed this look into the year 3000. Let us know what you're excited about in the comments. And be sure to check out our Facebook fan page and follow @DoctypeTV on Twitter.
And if you have any questions you'd like answered in a future episode of Doctype, send us an email at questions@doctype.tv.
And if you subscribe via RSS or iTunes, you'll never miss an episode.
So until next Tuesday, remember that every great web page starts with Doctype.